All right, so it's me again. It is, let's see here, almost 4 o'clock, a minute to four, 5/22, 2024. It's early Wednesday morning. I just figured I'd come on and cover some of the storms from Iowa and some other shit. So um, let's get right to it, actually. Um, I'm going to go to this here because this is a press briefing um, from, I believe this is in Iowa. So let's. Uh, Actually, let me play an intro. I'll be right back. Be right back. All right, so let's go to this. This was done 6 hours ago, and this is coming out of Iowa News Now. So this is, I believe, KCCI. Not sure, but I'm pretty sure that is. So let's share this. I mean, the town is just completely devastated. But there's really nothing left. So let's go here.
By a devastating tornado. Local, county, and state emergency responders quickly initiated search and rescue operations once the tornado passed through the area. The team at the Adair County Memorial Hospital worked swiftly to assist the injured while also assuring safety of their facility as it also sustained tornado damage. Due to the hospital damage, patients were needing to be transported for their injuries to nearby area hospitals. Additionally, the Greenfield Community District coordinated the effort with reunification point at the local high school. This location will also serve as a temporary shelter for Greenfield residents. Sadly, we can confirm that there have been
I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous out right now here. It's about, it's still, I don't know, 50, 56 degrees or so here, but the air is getting heavier. So that's good news.
fatalities with this tornado. Also, injuries have been sustained by residents here in the Greenfield area. We are still working to assess and update the information as it becomes available. A mandatory curfew has been put in effect for this
This is all damage behind these guys here.
evening from 10 p.m. tonight until 7 a.m. tomorrow. We do anticipate that curfew lasting for some time. Law enforcement officials are checking identification at entry points just outside of the Greenfield area. The only residents at this time that will be allowed into the city of Greenfield will be residents that have Greenfield addresses on their license. A food and water drop off location has been set up. That location will be at the DOT, the Iowa Department of Transportation shop, the facility just east of Greenfield. That address is 2313 Highway 92. Again, that's just east of Greenfield. Tomorrow, we do anticipate releasing a few more details as far as cleanup and volunteer efforts. If there are any family members or friends that are unable to reach any loved ones, we do encourage people to reach out to our Iowa Department of Public Safety Storm Lake State Radio Communications Center. That phone number is 712 732 1341. And that information will be relayed so that we can go out and do some additional searches if we need be. The Greenfield community has shown incredible unity during this challenging time, with neighbors and friends displaying remarkable compassion, empathy, and support. The Greenfield community has a long road ahead of them, but if their actions today are any indication of what lies ahead, they will emerge stronger and more united than ever. We do appreciate you guys coming. Does anybody have a few additional questions that I can help out with?
How many fatalities?
We're still counting at this time. We're still working on our search efforts. We do anticipate probably sometime tomorrow releasing that. We just make sure we want to have a clear and accurate number.
We've heard that there are some that are unaccounted for right now. Can you tell us that?
We do believe we have everybody accounted for, but we just want to make sure that with our search efforts, obviously this tornado has devastated.
This is very sad. All these people's lives are ruined forever, literally.
Good portion of this town and community. And with that much damage, we want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence and making sure that we do cover that area extensively. And so we have done numerous searches already, but we want to make sure that we search it even better.
So are you able to give kind of a brief recap of kind of the information you're there?
Yeah, we'll be putting out a press release that you can have the exact same information that I shared on our Iowa Department of Public Safety press release. So I'll be sharing that here just a little bit.
Multiple fatalities?
We do have confirmed fatalities. Yes, we do. Yep.
Do you have any idea how many hospitalized?
At least a dozen were transported, potentially more injuries. We're still assessing all that information so that way we can have an accurate account with our EMS officials. If you can only imagine with a storm like this and the devastation, there are many people that come forward and work to try to get just some type of help. And so we want to make sure that we've accounted for every individual that was maybe needed some type of treatment with this storm.
Are you able to confirm how many patients were at the Greenfield Hospital and needed to be transported as well?
Yeah, that I don't have that information. So
Tell us a little bit more about how the curfew works tonight. Are you clearing out the streets or just not letting anybody else in around?
yeah, the curfew works. Again, nobody will be allowed inside the secured perimeter at all. And then inside the perimeter, there's also a curfew in the town. So there will be law enforcement within the town itself all night long. But we do put a curfew within the inbounds of the perimeter. And so any of those folks that are in here after 10 p.m. Will be told to go to a shelter or go to a safe place.
Sorry if you said this, but were any of the patients injured as well? Any of the patients in the hospital, were they injured in the hospital as well?
That I don't know. Nope, I don't have that information.
Was there a retirement center that was hit as well?
I think so, but I don't have any information on if there was any injuries or anything out of the retirement center. All right.
Counties of like this transport and everything like that. Do you know how many Iowa counties came here to help out?
You know what's neat about we live here in Iowa, and we're going to make sure that we help out our neighbors. And so when a devastation like this comes, people from many communities will emerge on a community like this and just offer their assistance. And that's what we saw today. Is there were county sheriffs, county deputies, city officers, firemen, EMS personnel, hospital personnel that came from all over the nearby surrounding counties and cities to help. And they're here for one mission, and that is to help one another. And that's what we're going to continue to do here in Iowa.
Any words from the Red Cross or FEMA at this point?
You know, all of those things are still getting figured out. We're in the very much the infancy stages of this town's cleanup, and we're going to make sure that we offer our assistance. And I can tell you that many other organizations are going to continue offering their assistance. And those will be talks that we're going to continue to have as the days go on. And we should be releasing a little bit more information tomorrow as far as volunteer efforts, cleanup efforts, and so forth. We'll be talking with the city community and also releasing that information. You know, right now we're just, as far as our law enforcement needs, we're looking at just making sure that we have everybody accounted for, but that we don't have anybody missing. And with the community, what they need for tonight is they need a safe place for shelter, and they need some food, and that stuff is being offered to them, and that's going to be offered to the community. And in the coming days, we're going to get this community back on its feet and everybody working together.
I'm sorry, I was going to let you in here. What was your travel name?
Yep. My name is Sergeant Alex Dinkla, and I'm the Iowa State Patrol's Public Information Officer. All right. Yep. All right. Just real quick, what I need from everybody here, if you would, please, I am going to have to ask you because again, you heard me say nobody else could be in here unless they're Greenfield residents. We will need to head east out of town to get out of town. So I do need to make sure that everybody does obey by that. I try to be very, very friendly with you guys all and offer things. So, yep, as soon as we leave here, we do have to head out of town. So,
All right, so let's get out of this one here, and I'll play this one here. This will show you some of the damage here, I think. Let's rewind this here.
See it on television, but it's different when it happens to you in your house, in your town, and your people. It's different.
Well, strong wind, heavy rain, and tornadoes have left behind significant damage in areas all around central Iowa. The city of Greenfield sustained some of the worst damage. Homes destroyed, trees uprooted, lives changed forever. Thousands now having to rebuild. The Iowa State Patrol confirming multiple fatalities and more than a dozen injuries after a tornado swept through the area. Now the cleanup and rebuilding efforts commenced just hours after disaster. Well, that's where we are bringing you team coverage with Local 5's Jake Brend and Dana Searles. They've been surveying that damage all afternoon. Dana, let's start with you. What have you seen out there tonight?
Stephanie, the damage here is tough to describe. Many of these homes are leveled, only basements left with nothing above them. When I first got into town, I spoke with a young person who just graduated high school on Saturday. Now they're picking up the rubble in their hometown, recounting the moments when the tornado first hit.
At first I was calm because it didn't think it would get any louder or get any worse, but then it did. It started getting really, really dark and the wind was howling, and then it got loud enough. My mom was like, okay, we got to go to the corner. And then there's just a bunch of crashing. I heard windows shattering, and I heard like branches from trees creaking and snapping. So that was what convinced my mom that our house got destroyed.
Then experiencing the aftermath.
Really, really rough. It is a mess. And we're only like 2-3 hours into pickup.
Homes leveled, rubble everywhere, and crews working to clean up the aftermath.
And yesterday I was driving through here and everything was sunshiny and fine. And now there's crosses all over the buildings and OKs and whether or not they got everyone out. It's just really, really weird. And you never ever think it's going to happen to you. Like my brother Cody, his house just got white and his girlfriend got stuck, but she's okay now. But it was really bad. But then you see all these people out here helping each other. It's community.
Then as we kept walking, the damage just got worse and worse. We stumbled upon a family sitting on their front porch of their home completely hollow behind them. They just bought this home 2 years ago. They had to sit there and watch all of their hard work just be destroyed.
It's one of the craziest experiences, one of the craziest days, I guess, of my life.
A family home destroyed.
And as you can see,
You see it's Five Nights at Freddy's.
After fearing for their lives during the storm.
And I heard mom and dad come in, and I heard the loudest ambient noise I guess I've ever heard in my life. It was just a straight rumble, constant loud, you know. And I felt an intense pressure in my ears, and I picked up my daughter, and it just didn't feel right. So I picked up my daughter and ran over to the wall in the basement, and then our window blew out in the basement. And all I could taste was dirt, so everything blew in, and it was just calm.
Not knowing what comes next.
Crazy feeling because you're just shaking. You don't know what to do. You don't know how to start. So, yeah.
honestly, I don't know at this point, because I, of course, already have seen it. I was just glad that my family was safe and stuff. So,
and trying to take it all in.
The big first reaction is, you say audibly, "Oh my God!" Of course, you're happy that your kids are safe and your family is safe. But then there's something that you worked so hard for that is no longer here. It's hard, It's very hard to save up the money to buy a house. And when you have it, that's like your safe space.
It's a heartbreaking scene out here, and words can't really describe the feeling inside this small town. I also spoke with a woman who sat in her basement in between her washer and dryer, watched her entire home be ripped away from above her. Like I said, it's hard to describe the feeling that these people are going through. Thankfully, that woman is okay, just recovering from the traumatic experience that she did have. It's a small community. It's going to take a lot of work to pick up, and our hearts are with them. I'm live in Greenfield. Dana Searles, Local 5 News.
So let's get a map here on because I have no idea where Greenfield, Iowa is, but we're gonna find out. There it is, right in here. Greenfield. The 2,062 people in Greenfield, right here. Oh, there you go. Nice town. Oh, that's beautiful. Nice. This right here looks like a scene from Back to the Future. Heart of America right there, man. All right, so let's get out of here. And I want to share this. Stop screen.
Yep. All right. Can you tell us what happened first? Were you in town here?
Yes, I was in town. Yes. And I was out riding my bicycle, and it's like, go home. I went home, and the sirens went off, and I went down to the basement in the furnace room because they said get into a room where there's no outside walls. And before I went down the basement, I went all around my house and I prayed for God to keep us safe and to keep the house safe and my animals safe. And I went downstairs and was in the furnace room, and then I heard like a train, and then insulation came from the basement, one of the basement windows, and came in, and I heard it and I knew it was hitting.
And how long did
So the train sound is a combination of the vortex and updraft.
it last?
Oh,
Do you have any idea?
no, it was minutes, just minutes.
And
It's almost like a turbine engine.
what kind of shape is your house in? Is it okay? Or?
Well, it's got some damage to it. It's got windows broken out, and I have a brick porch, the bricks off of it. I have
I don't know if anybody is old enough to remember the Tasmanian devil when he used to show up. He'd sound that whirling sound.
the chimney is down. The back, I have a deck on the back, and 3/4 of it's off. And my trees, the tops of them are down. And
What was it like when you came out of the basement?
what was it? It was calm. It was calm. It wasn't raining or anything.
So did you see a lot of damage when you first came out of shelter, or did you have to walk a little ways and then see?
Oh, I looked out and saw houses. I mean, there's houses down all over the place.
What's it like as somebody who lives here to see, now walk around and see all of these places that you go by all the time?
It's devastating. I've lived here all my life. I'm just praying that
This all sucks. This is a tragedy. This is a tragedy too. Like, these people's lives will never be the same here. It's tough to go through something like this.
everybody was safe. Everybody's safe and nobody got hurt.
Do you know of anybody you know who's hurt or missing?
Not yet. I haven't heard of anybody, but I'm just keep hearing all over the place that houses are down. Even all the new houses out by the lake are down. I just want to thank God for keeping us safe and everybody coming together to help. It was scary, very scary.
What about the community of Greenfield? It's a pretty strong community that can get through this.
Oh yeah, they'll get through it. You already see people out helping each other, working together, and that's what they do when people come together. When a tragedy happens, people come together to support and encourage each other, and we'll rebuild. We'll rebuild.
All right, so that's sad. That sucks. So what I do want to do is go here. This might help. First thing you should do is if you're in Tornado Alley or anywhere in a zone where you're prone for tornadoes, and that means Tornado Alley, anywhere I would say east of Colorado and west of, I would say, New England. But even in the southeast, you can get tornadoes. So, especially in Florida, Florida gets a lot too. They get a lot of water spouts too. But we're going to go over some tips here. So, if you have no basement, which a lot of people don't have basements, a lot of people have built on a lot of homes around the country are built on slabs, especially down south. Move into an interior room with no windows, so like a bathroom or like a closet. Last thing you want to do is be around a bunch of glass. Let's see here. If you have a basement, move to your basement and bring your emergency supply kit. Nobody knows what that is. Band-Aids. The best thing to do too is get a portable radio with batteries. So let's go here. If you're in a tornado or severe weather warning, go to a safe shelter immediately, such as a safe room, basement, storm cellar, or small interior room on the lowest level of a store. So basically, the lower the better, obviously. Let's go here. If outside, seek cover. If you're outside in a vehicle or live in a mobile home, take shelter. They don't tell you how. Wear a helmet for extra protection. Families should always go to a tornado shelter or safe room first. Tornado tips from the American Red Cross. Let's go here. I wonder if everybody can see that. Yep, right there. Okay. So this is from the Red Cross. So a tornado watch is basically, these are important here. This is basically just possibly, with the history of the storm, meteorologists will track the history of the storm prediction, whether it's containing hail or cyclonic stuff. They'll track that. So that's what a watch is. Those are kind of like automatics sometimes in heavy thunderstorm stuff. The warning is the important thing. You really need to move your ass when there's a warning. There's a big difference between a watch and a warning. A warning it's more possible than not. This stuff here you can find at the Red Cross, so I won't go over everything, but basically, is make sure you know where you're going to go if there's a tornado, because you're probably going to get at most like a 5 to 10 minute warning if you're that lucky. So, but I suggest a barometer somewhere in your house so that you know when the pressure is dropping. That's probably a good idea. All right, so I'm going to switch gears here for a little while. I want to go to this story because I just saw it. Let's get out of here. Stop this. And I want to go to this surfer thing because I was following this a few weeks ago, and now it seems like they got some confessions from one of the people accused. So if you don't know about this, two Australians and an American went surfing down in Baja California, Mexico, and they got brutally unalived. And I think there was 4 people that were found where they were buried. So let's go here.
Getaway ends in tragedy when 3 surfers are brutally murdered while on vacation in Mexico.
Well, it's a very unusual, depressing story for the victims in this case.
And with the devastating crime comes a puzzling motive.
It's almost unbelievable. Why would you murder 3 people for tires?
And now,
there's an active shooter situation going on.
Why did they do that? Hold on a second. Stop sharing this. Sorry, I just X'd out of that by accident.
information being revealed from a star witness's testimony.
I don't really know how many people live with themselves in consciousness, knowing someone who killed someone.
The story began in late April when 3 men were reported missing while on vacation in the Mexican state of Baja California. The group was made up of brothers.
What I want to know is if this is going to be tried in Mexico, since it was done in Mexico.
Jake and Callum Robinson and their friend Jack Carter Road. The Robinson brothers are both from Australia, but Callum moved to the States back in college when he played lacrosse at Stevenson University. While Jake Robinson was based out of Perth, Australia, both Callum...
Because laws are a little different in Mexico, I think. And if they try them in Mexico, who knows?
And Jack Carter Road were living in San Diego. Their vacation took them to Baja California for a surfing trip. It's something Callum documented from his Instagram, showing the group on the beach, listening to music, and enjoying their time off. They were last heard from on April 27th and were reported missing by...
I mean, this is just horrible.
...by their families after they failed to show up to their Airbnb.
And Mexico's a great surfing place, and it's just so sad to see that something that you do to relax and to get a break, and then someone comes and murders you.
As criminal defense attorney Mike Korbanix explains, the search for the 3 men ended in tragedy when they were found murdered. Each victim had been shot in the head. Their bodies were recovered from a well about 50 feet underground. Along with them, a 4th body that had already begun decomposing. Mexican authorities say the well was in a rural area that was difficult to get to. It even took first responders multiple hours to recover the bodies. Investigators say the motive...
They must have had a tip to finding them. You don't just find these people in a remote area dug 50 feet deep in a well without a tip, but who knows?
The tires on the surfer's pickup truck.
That it looks like it was a robbery that went overboard.
About 4 miles from the well, investigators found abandoned tents, some of the victims' cell phones, and a burned up pickup truck. Missing from the truck, its tires. So what we're hearing about this case is that the motive is tires on the vehicle that the 3 victims had. The suspect apparently just wanted the tires, and these 3 victims gave some pushback and wouldn't give them away. What do you make of a motive like that? Tires in exchange for 3 lives.
It's almost unbelievable. It'll be interesting to see what the investigation further reveals in this case. Was this someone who had a mental disorder who was the murderer? How exactly did the things happen when they were taking the tires? Was there a physical engagement that all of a sudden he brought out the gun? Was there the thing that was amazing too was not only
that doesn't make any sense. So they may be fooling other people, but they're not fooling me. The tire thing, I don't think makes a lot of sense. What would make more sense to me is if these guys were looking for a little pot and they ran up along the wrong guys, but that's just my opinion.
Like, did they steal the tires, but then they burnt the car? And you've got to wonder, you would think someone, why would you murder 3 people for tires? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I've heard of people getting unalive for less, but it doesn't make any sense.
like you would think someone would
Then burn the vehicle, right? Like, okay.
have taken the car. I mean, basically left that. Well, they did trace the car down. But the very fact that the car is burned without tires, that's a strong circumstantial evidence link to who was involved and how they were involved.
We'll get back to the story of Callum, Jack, and Jake in just a moment. But first, we have to give you a law and crime legal alert. Google Incognito tracked users' browsing data without
Whoops.
browser. If you've used Google Incognito anytime since 2016, games.com/LCMexico, the investigation quickly pointed to one
Oh, there is some good news. The Celtics won last night, so that's good news.
main suspect, Jesus Gerardo, and his girlfriend, Ari Geisel, has become a major witness in the case.
The real irony of this case is the fact that his girlfriend, from what I've read, is basically the major contributor and cooperator into this case, where she received many of the things that were stolen from these people and then they were murdered.
Ari told investigators her boyfriend allegedly confessed to the murders in explicit terms and gave specifics about the robbery. Days after the murders, this information was revealed in a Mexican courtroom. Mike
Look at that beach. I mean, that's just heaven. Literally.
says Ari's testimony will be extremely valuable in the case against Jesus Gerardo.
And it just appears that this person probably thought, nobody saw me, I did well, and he told his girlfriend. And I don't really know how many really people could live with themselves in
Also, quick programming note. I'm probably going to be doing more of these lives early in the morning since the weather's better. And, I truly hate being inside. So up here in New England, you get the cabin fever. So when the weather starts getting nice, I'm out freaking side. I want to enjoy this stuff. So I'll be doing a lot more of these out early in the morning when I get home.
consciousness, knowing someone who killed someone. I know in the criminal defense world, and like on a show like this where we talk about those kinds.
And hurricane season will be starting up too soon, so I'll be covering a lot of that.
Kind of things happen all the time. Well, they may.
I know the Pacific hurricane season's already started. And we'll cover that too, but once the Atlantic gets going, we'll definitely be following that.
But in the concept of the whole world and the community, not many people have ever been in that situation. And I'm sure she was fearful of the fact that she had some of the possessions of what he stole, and she doesn't want to go do prison time for something someone else did. So I think that was a high influence on her cooperation with law enforcement.
I've also seen reports that the girlfriend's car had been fitted with these stolen tires. So her boyfriend came and was like, hey, take a look at your car. All of a sudden it has the
So the 2024 hurricane season will start June 1st. So a little over a week. So doesn't really mean anything. It just means that's when it's going to start.
these brand new stolen tires on them. So we've talked about that as the motive. Is that something that investigators
Officially, I mean, that's the official starting date, and it ends in November sometime.
are going to zero in on, looking at these tires, maybe taking evidence from them, tracks, things like that?
Oh, well, absolutely. I mean, they're probably going to hope they could see you. They may actually be able to get fingerprints off of this, which, somebody had to put those tires on. Did they do it with gloves or not? I mean, it's going to have to be something that's going to have a lot of scientific evidence when there's an investigation. It's not just somebody's words. The government always wants to have some scientific proof that really is not opinionated, but it goes down to the basics of, is this really the tires from that car? And that's another link of circumstantial evidence. And when I say
Can you imagine that, killing 3 people, unaliving 3 people for a set of tires, right? Like, but I guess desperate people do desperate things. This is a old style ghetto blaster here. Look at that. This was my day, back in my day. This is what we had with the cassette player here in the middle. That was perfect. But you don't see these anymore.
circumstantial evidence, I mean,
If you had one of these, you were good.
it's not like, it doesn't appear like this is going to be a case where you have witnesses who said, we saw this happen. So they're going to have to use all the circumstances surrounding it to put it all together.
But the stolen tires aren't the only piece of evidence Mexican authorities recovered. So the reports I've seen say that the girlfriend had a victim's cell phone, which could be very useful with data, tracking, etc. Do you think that that will be a valuable piece of evidence?
It'll be a huge piece of evidence. It'll be a huge piece of evidence because of technology these days. Is, you know, the phone really tells you so many things. And
But this is Mexico, right? So it's a Mexican, it'll be a Mexican investigation, right? I don't know. Or is it international? I don't know.
the most important thing it's going to tell, in my opinion, law enforcement, is the location of where everything happened. And so at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure that the murderer in this case, if he was the same person who robbed, will show where the last incident happened once he got that phone and moved out of the area. So they're going to have a lot to be able to trace by phones. And once again, I don't think it's amazing sometimes to see where people involved in criminal activities actually text to one another and it's preserved in the phone basically forever. One of the things, though, as a defense attorney, you've got to wonder why, if these people were, whoever committed this, the boyfriend or whoever, how would you be taking phones in this day and age of someone you just...
Okay, so hold on a second. I want to go here. So Mexican laws on unaliving is the unlawful killing of another person by another person. Citizenship doesn't enter into unaliving laws. One American unalives another in Mexico, it's still a Mexican crime. Now, if you make it back to the United States, Mexico doesn't have jurisdiction to pursue you physically. So if you want to live somebody in Mexico and you make it back to the United States, they don't have jurisdiction over that. So I'm assuming that this is going to be tried in a Mexican court. What is the penalty for murder in Mexico? You'll face up to 12 years in prison. Do they investigate murders in Mexico? I'm sure they do. How many years is a life sentence in Mexico? That's a good one. 40 years. So if an offender has maintained good behavior, they can become paroled at 40 years. Mexico does not extradite any prisoners subject to capital punishment. So I don't think it's a death penalty in Mexico, but I could be wrong. All right, so let's go back to this.
murdered and not expect that that's not going to be tracked and they're going to find it. That's the real interesting thing, and very hurtful to the girlfriend because she was recovered with one of the victim's phones.
So far, Jesus Gerardo is the only one who's been...
What a dumbass. They took the phone. I mean, what is wrong with people? People are just really stupid. I mean, why take a phone?
charged in connection to the case. As of right now, I've seen the main defendant in this case has been charged with forced disappearance. What is that? Is that almost like kidnapping?
I'm not really clear on that. I don't practice in Mexico. So, but yeah, it appears that, but a lot of times what people don't realize occurs with charges is the government would always put what they at that time have the strongest evidence for. And that way they go from, so if they think we have enough for a robbery, at least we know we have a charge, you then put this person in custody, keep the community safe, and then we could further our investigation to see if we could come up with strong evidence to go for the.
My owls are out here. I don't know if anybody can hear them. It's the male and the female.
Murder or things of that nature.
So you're saying it's possible that as the investigation continues, that he or maybe someone else could even face murder charges?
I would be surprised if they didn't, quite frankly. And the only reason why I'd be surprised is because his girlfriend has given these statements that are very strong and seem.
I wonder if anybody can hear that. They were just caterwauling a couple minutes ago. Oh.
To put everything together. So I would be surprised if we don't see it.
Ari and another man have been detained in connection with the case, but so far Ari's only charge is possession of methamphetamine with intent to distribute. So is it possible that those two could face charges?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It'd be interesting to say. It's very difficult to say now unless we had more access to the discovery and see why, in fact, she gave those statements. She may have given those statements as an agreement and cooperation where they said, give us evidence and we won't charge you. Or they could be looking at charge her and she just gave that evidence voluntarily and proceeded forward.
And again, we've talked about the location of these murders as in Baja California, and this is really one of Mexico's most violent states. The thing that first jumped into my head was possible cartel involvement.
So let's go here for a second because I want to share this. So my daughter and my wife were out. Did I? It might not be in here in downloads. Oh, right there. And downloads. All right. Well, I'll have to put those pictures back in a different format. So, all right. So let's go back to this. Anyways, my wife and my daughter were out and they got pictures of my birds, and I wanted to share them with you, but they're in a different format, so I got to change that.
And I know that we have this alleged motive right now about the tires, but is it possible that a drug cartel could have been involved in these murders?
It is possible, but it's just difficult.
This isn't drug cartel. Drug cartels aren't just stupid. They're just not.
To see from a point of view of a drug cartel, if drug movement and all that.
Sorry, I'm trying to get this sound for you.
is their basis of what they're doing, why they would commit a murder and then take the tires. If they said like they committed a murder and took a couple kilos out of a trunk or something like that, that would be a little more understandable. But this, we don't know all the evidence they have, but there would have to be a stronger connection to show that the drug cartel murdered 3 people and take some tires and a couple cell phones.
For now, Mike says the case is still in its early stages. What do you expect as the case moves forward? I know we're still in the early stages and a murder charge hasn't even come about yet, but what do you expect?
I expect that there would be.
So it's the male talking to the female. You probably hear that now. Those are my barred owls.
Be a murder charge in this, and that expectation is based upon the facts we just know now, and the very fact.
Of course, you can't shut up this cardinal.
If they had someone who said, "I have the tires," and my boyfriend.
Yeah, I see you now because you're right there.
Told me. I don't want to use the words he used. I got it from these initial people and that sort with all those swear words. So it shows not only like a violence, it shows an arrogance, and that can be very, very influential in front of a jury if she testifies.
But it's possible with
Drug cartels have no business doing stuff like this. This is not a drug cartel. Anyway, how do I know? I don't know, but usually they're pretty smart. They're smarter than this. They're definitely not going to take cell phones with them. All right, so let's go. I want to go to Rex Heuermann here for a couple minutes, and I'll get out of here. So this case is going to interest me for the next few weeks for sure, because
what exactly is the Gilgo Beach Task Force returning here to look for inside Rex Heuermann's home, and also what brought them back here in the first place? Large bags brought out along with bins and boxes, and even a notebook. Some of the many items of evidence taken out of accused Gilgo Beach serial.
The medical examiner going in there is bizarre to me, but
Killer Rex Heuermann's Massapequa Park house.
I think it's crazy though, what could be happening in there, what they're looking for, what they're looking to bring out of there.
Investigators return after 10 months setting up tents once again in the front yard. You can see one carrying what looks like a camera bag, walking it to it.
That looked like FBI right there. That guy right there.
You see one carrying what looks like a camera bag, walking it to a trailer.
Oh man, I can't believe it. Really, it's shocking again.
Etienne Divier is Rex Heuermann's next door neighbor of 30 years. He says state police knocked on his door when they arrived to Heuermann's home yesterday morning.
He kind of, filled us in on what was going on.
You said 66 Whitestone, just shy of.
I did it again.
On what was going on and what they're doing, and they got a search warrant, and they're gonna be here for a few days. And I said, how long? And they said, we really don't know.
Heuermann's daughter, whose face is blurred, we're told was home. His wife, Asa Ellerer, and their son were out of town.
I spoke to Chris the other day, the son, and he told me that they were very upset that they delayed the trial.
Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney staying tight-lipped about the return to Heuermann's home.
Investigations evolve, new information comes in, and as that new information comes in, it becomes necessary to take additional steps. And that's what we're doing.
This after a wider wooded search in and around Manorville over the past few weeks. The DA confirming it's part of the same investigation. 4 of the 10 Gilgo Beach remains have been tied to Heuermann, who's been charged with murder. The remaining 6 murders are unsolved. The Gilgo.
Let me get back to this here. No image, unidentified female toddler here, and this is the other one here. There's these are the 4 that he's accused of right here. They've linked him to here. This guy here, I don't know, but it's going to be interesting. The more I think about it, the more I think it might not be connected to the Manorville thing, because what would they be looking for with a medical examiner in his house? That's weird.
Solved. The Gilgo Beach Task Force returning, bringing back out onlookers and neighbors alike.
It's just something that, we were biking. We're like, let's go take a look.
Just being nosy, I guess.
I hope this is the guy that did.
I wish there was a way to get his DNA released before trial. I mean, that's what I wish, but I don't think that's going to happen.
They put him away.
Do you think they have the right guy?
I think there's a law against that, but it'd be interesting to see what that would do.
Jeez, I don't know. I never seen Rex as a violent person, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
So I don't know. For the sake of the kids, I hope they don't have the right guy.
And that next door neighbor, Etienne, says Heuermann's wife plans to move out within the next few years. As far as this investigation at their home is expected.
This whole thing, this whole Rex Heuermann thing kind of reminds me of, I hate to say it because people have probably brought this up so many freaking times, but kind of reminds me of when they arrested BTK. I mean, people were like, him? Who? That guy? Really? No. The same thing here with this guy.
Expected to last at least several days. Live in Massapequa Park, Shantae Lands, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
I mean, you heard the same thing with Dennis Rader. Him? No, it can't be him. Oh, it can be.
Well, investigators searching the home of suspected Long Island serial killer Rex Heuermann for a second day.
All right, so far it's still unclear what they're looking for. Teresa Priolo live in Massapequa Park with the very latest today. Teresa.
Yes, Steve and Natasha, if yesterday was shocking to neighbors, and today really must feel like deja vu. Behind me, those white tents, that's where state police investigators are working here in Massapequa Park. They are searching the home of Rex Heuermann. It's unclear what they're looking for and why they felt the need to come back for a second day. All day we have seen investigators walking in and out of that house with sealed boxes, carrying racks of women's clothes and clear containers that appear to have bright colored, possibly women's clothing inside of them. We do know that they are executing a search warrant in relation to the Gilgo Beach murders. And while they won't say specifically what they're looking for, we do know that throughout these investigations, they evolve and new information does come to light. Of course, Heuermann hasn't lived here since he was arrested on suspicion of being the person responsible for the Gilgo Beach murders. And we know this isn't the first time that investigators have had access to this home. Here is Rex Heuermann's wife's attorney. Take a listen.
They spent approximately 13 days in the residence in Massapequa Park, going through every item from the attic to the basement.
This whole second search to me is just really bizarre, especially when they were out there for almost 2 full weeks the first time.
Including cutting up the back deck and digging up the backyard. I cannot imagine that there was any item left behind.
I mean, it's not a very big house. Let me see if I can find that. I mean, it's a ranch, I think, for God's sakes. It's not... Let's see if I can get a good picture here. So I mean, this is the house topographically here, and I mean it's a pretty long ranch, but pretty sure there's a basement here. There might not be. I mean, what else can they find in here? This, after spending 13 days here the first time, digging up the backyard. I mean, I don't know. It's just really weird. Okay, so let's get out of this here. I'm just saying it's not a big house. I could see if it was a townhouse or something like that, but it's your typical ranch.
Or not inspected at that time. So honestly, we haven't received a copy of the search warrant. We're looking forward to getting that, reading that, and seeing how.
I mean, when it comes to framing a ranch, when I was back in the day when I was framing homes, there's really not a lot to them.
They develop a probable cause to re-enter the premises.
Now, Rex Heuermann has pleaded not guilty to all of the charges that he faces. He is due back in court on June the 18th. That's the latest from Massapequa Park tonight. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Teresa, thank you.
All right, so it's just really bizarre. Let's get out of here. I do want to play one more thing, and this is about this guy with the dungeon on wheels here. It's a short clip, I think, but then I'll get out of here. New evidence, I think, with this guy. New evidence shared in the RAPE van on wheels. This guy's a creeper here.
Covering new details
This
about
is from Los Angeles, so I played this the other day.
evidence found in what LA County detectives call a rape dungeon on wheels. Investigators say more victims have now come forward.
This is just a horrible story. Fox 11's Haley Winslow was the first to break it. And first of all, Haley, what do we know about these victims?
Well, sources
Freaking animal. This guy's an animal, literally.
say at least 2 more victims, unfortunately, have come forward and their family members. And at least one of them
Look at this guy's got a mattress in there. It's unbelievable.
is a child. And I can now report what I'm told the forensic team.
What? Let me play this again. Hold on a second. Triggering.
found in what LA County detectives call a rape dungeon on wheels. Investigators say more victims have now come forward.
This is just a horrible story. Fox 11's Haley Winslow was the first to break it. And first of all, Haley, what do we know about these victims?
Well, sources say at least 2 more victims, unfortunately, have come forward and their family members. And at least one of them is a child.
Oh my
I
God.
can now report what I'm told the forensic team
Oh my God.
uncovered inside that van. We want to warn you, it is very disturbing.
Triggering. I don't even know if I want to play this. Hold on a second. If you're sensitive to stuff like this here, just, I mean, nobody's watching right now anyways, but if you're on the replay, this is going to be a little bit hard.
The stench overpowering, the mess overwhelming. Condoms, Christmas toys, a motorized scooter, beer, glue, markers, improvised restraints, a metal partition, and locks on the outside. 2 heroic deputies arrested 40-year-old Eduardo Sarabia in the Angeles National Forest last week. Investigators say they caught Sarabia raping a 26-year-old
This is like a movable, drivable sex van. It's just horrific.
woman at knife point. I'm inside the, quote, dungeon rape van where investigators say a serial rapist took his victims. At least 2 women, possibly kids. The evidence forensic investigators found is extremely disturbing in here. There's the mattress, many spots there's semen they found on it. There's several cell phones and thumb drives where they believe he was videotaping his victims. And most disturbing in all of this is probably a small pair of shoes
Oh my
with
God.
splattered blood on the soles.
Oh my God.
All of that evidence has been, of course, processed, and inside the van is everything that's left.
Freaking animal. This guy's a freaking animal. This stuff makes me angry.
Taken to the crime lab, law enforcement officers say the forensic team found multiple pairs of women's underwear tucked in corners of the van they believe he collected as trophies. A small pair of pajamas, and next to the small bloody shoes, investigators say they found a shovel. That gruesome evidence obviously raises a lot more questions. Sources say the family members who have come forward since Sarabia's arrest have had concerns about him for years. However, they were afraid to alert authorities because they're undocumented immigrants and feared no one would believe them or they'd be deported.
Well, we've got some new information about the first victim and how this was sort of uncovered.
So the first victim escaped. She was sleeping next to a building and a security guard actually woke her up and she said, please just leave me alone. Let me be. I've just been raped. And he said, well, we need to call 911. And that's how the whole thing unfolded.
Wow.
Well, thank goodness for the security guard.
Yeah, exactly. And the fear, of course, now is with the shovel being found inside the van and these very small clothing and the shoes with the blood on them, that there might be a lot more victims and there might be more than just one child.
Well, finally, they're let's play this here. I didn't see this.
Alvin, a criminal investigation.
So they're actually really going to launch a criminal investigation into this guy's unaliving here. That's interesting.
Is underway tonight into the death of Friends star Matthew Perry.
The investigators focusing on the amount of ketamine found in the actor's body, and they want to know where it came from. Perry was found dead last October in a hot tub at his home in the Pacific Palisades.
Hold on a second. I always spell that wrong. Ketamine is a dissociative anesthetic used medically for induction and maintenance of anesthesia. It's also used as treatment of depression, pain management. It is a novel compound that was derived from penicillin in 1962 in pursuit of a safer anesthetic with fewer hallucinogenic efforts.
TLA 5's Sandra Mitchell joins us now with more on this developing story. Sandy?
Shared just moments ago, I spoke with a retired DEA agent who told me.
So he had abnormal amounts of ketamine. That's a little weird.
This case could be very similar to the Michael Jackson death investigation. Now, if a doctor was prescribing ketamine outside the scope of what was medically necessary, he says the doctor could be charged in the case. Michael Jackson, of course, died of an overdose of propofol, and his doctor was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter. The question now, where did Matthew Perry get the ketamine? Almost 6 months after his death, local and federal investigators are trying to determine where actor Matthew Perry got the drug that killed him.
They are taking a serious look at why he died, how he died, and who supplied him with the drug.
This guy here was funnier than shit on that show. I mean, I never really watched Friends, but I think he was fairly funny.
Drugs that resulted in his death.
Back in December, the LA County Medical Examiner ruled Perry's death accidental and determined the 54-year-old died from the
Mr. Matthew Perry's cause of death is determined to be from the acute effects of ketamine.
acute effects of ketamine. Perry was reported to be receiving.
He was reported to be receiving ketamine infusion therapy for depression and anxiety. There you go. The ketamine in his system at death could not be from that infusion therapy. So it's not, this guy here ruled that it wasn't from the infusion therapy.
Ketamine infusion therapy for depression and anxiety. But the autopsy revealed the ketamine in his system at death could not be from that therapy. So now the DEA is leading the investigation, assisted by the LAPD and the U.S. Postal Inspection Service. KTLA legal analyst Allison Treasel.
Appears to indicate that perhaps the theory here is that someone mailed these drugs to Matthew Perry using the Postal Service, and therefore the federal government would be involved.
Because I went to an all-boys high school and God is making up for it?
Perry, best known for playing Chandler Bing on the hit show Friends, was found dead in his hot tub in Pacific Palisades in late October.
Anybody know a good tailor?
Here in California, prosecutors have charged fentanyl dealers with murder, and Treasel says any new state laws could have an impact on this case.
The legislature has been working on laws to actually charge individuals that supply a lethal dose of drugs with.
Hey, buddy, what's up? It's Frosty. What's going on, buddy? We squeaked one out last night, man. I don't know how we did it, but we did it.
Murder, second-degree murder, but that's been cases related to fentanyl as opposed to ketamine.
They're opening an investigation into this guy. They're saying that there was really, really high levels of ketamine in his system, I think.
So when I talked with Allison Treasel this afternoon, she also told me the charges at a federal level could be even more severe, more prison time. We're going to have the very latest on my conversation with that DEA agent.
I didn't know you could mail prescriptions in the mail. Yeah, I was just about to get out of here. And I just saw this pop up. This is weird. There's nothing else on that. Let's play this here. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. I thought it was just a done deal, but they're going to open up some sort of a federal investigation. You're playing Flight Simulator and running me in the background. Oh, cool. How you doing, buddy? You doing all right?
The Micah Miller death investigation was supposed to be settled by now. 2 weeks ago, the investigators released a video of Micah alone buying the handgun that fired the fatal shot. And they also released that 911 call in which Micah announces her plan very.
Oh, you're not doing night shift anymore? You're on days? Good for you, man. Night shift is for us old folk. We don't like the days.
calmly to the operator.
Good to see you, man. It's always good to see Frosty in here.
To kill herself, wanting the operator to know the location so her family can find her. But that is still not enough for Micah's family to accept that she alone, the troubled wife and a.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good news. It's hard to it's hard to be younger and work nights, man. It doesn't. I mean, it's great if you want to be single, but not everybody wants to be single.
Apparently abusive South Carolina pastor is responsible for her own death. The family says this new.
Yeah, same here. I don't have the same phone I used to have, so it's really hard for me to get listening and driving anymore. You're usually on. Although I saw you on the other morning. Was it yesterday morning you were on?
Exclusive video of the exact spot where Micah died proves that she could not have shot herself, citing the lack of current that's moving the water and the position of the bullet casings. Tonight, we're also hearing from the very last person to see Micah alive. He's an employee at a gas station where Micah stopped on her way to the North Carolina park where she was eventually found.
Who's Mark Cohen? I don't even know who that is. Maybe I do know who that is. I don't know.
Found dead. News Nation's investigative correspondent Rich McHugh has been on this story and breaking a lot of leads. He joins me now with that last part. So let's talk a little, Rich, about the video that you have of that exact spot where Micah was found dead. Last night you showed us the fisherman and the exact spot where he found her things. And it is not the same as where her body was found. What is significant about the spot?
I think the series is going to go at least 6. Oh, he's in Delphi. I'll have to watch that. I'll have to do that replay. I don't think I've heard of that name yet in this case. In that case, yes, I'm a huge Celtics fan. It's the only team in Boston I care about, literally.
Spot where her body was found.
Well, this is video that was provided by her family to us, and it basically shows, if you're looking at the video on screen left at the very top of the video, this is where authorities say were the shell casings, multiple shell casings, and a live round, and where she ultimately took her life. Where the flowers are downstream, this is not even a stream, this is stagnant water. That is where her body was found. In her family's position,
this water right here, where this is, this is not like your typical like lake or creek. You don't go in this water unless you know what you're doing, man. You know what I mean? This here, you could die in here. There's stuff in here that could kill you.
is that, look, this water is not moving. This is stagnant. There's no way her body came all the way down from up on the screen left all the way down to over here. Now
Ruckus is a fair weather fan, man. Ruckus doesn't give a shit. Ruckus lives in Florida, man. He left Boston a long time ago. This is in North Carolina, I think. This is where they found her. But this water here, like, you don't go, you may go fishing in here and stuff like that, but, you know, this isn't like one of those places where you go and just hang out in the water. There's snakes and everything else in here.
we still don't know where in relation to this, to where we were last night outside in the boat, where exactly this is and where this part meets. But this is deep into this area, this cypress forest that the family walked there. They said that to get there, you had to walk through knee-deep water for 20 to 30 feet. Talk to her friends. They said Micah would not do this.
You wouldn't catch me dead in that water, man. Waist deep, no thanks, man. I'm not doing that.
Wearing her work outfit. None of this makes sense. The family's saying, look, this is evidence that she did not, they believe this is staged. She did not take her life, Ashley.
I dated a girl that lived in North Carolina, and we went once to, this is a long, long time ago, we went to go fishing, and she told me that nobody ever goes in the water here because it's, you know, there's shit in here. There's animals in here that'll kill you. So it's not like around here where you go to the lake and jump in the lake and go swimming in the ravine and stuff like this. This stuff here, man.
Fascinating. I keep saying the same thing. I would never wade into something like that. I'd be afraid of gators or critters or something, or filth. I would
This
just
is
be.
gator.
I'm with her, man. You ain't gonna find me in that water waist deep. Not without a good shotgun, or, you know, it's even with a shotgun. Like, no, I'm not going in there.
Country.
But then again,
this is gator and snake country.
Right. Yeah, and not only that, but you know, it would just be.
You know, it's no, it's not for me. I mean, I may go fishing, like if I'm in a boat or something like that, or a small little, but I'm not going to be, you know, standing in there for long periods of time. Fuck that. That's not happening.
Look, I get it. If you're going to take your own life, maybe you're not thinking rationally anyway, would be the argument against that. But it does seem so odd to wander out into that bayou like body of water to ultimately take your life. So let's talk about the other unique information that you learned, and that is that Micah stopped for gas.
I mean, if you're going to take your life, I don't think crocodiles and alligators are going to be a problem, right? You're looking to go there to unalive yourself, so I don't think you're worried about dying.
Which again is odd. Why would you fill up your tank if your plan was to take your life moments later? But she stopped for gas and she stopped to get a drink. before she ended up in that park. And you've been able to speak to the person who might be the last person to speak with her and see her alive.
Yeah, so
this guy right here, this is the guy. He just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, or this guy's following her. Because if you watch this, hold on a second. Let me back this up just a second here. This guy here is super creepy.
Yeah, so this is in Mullins, South Carolina, which is about, I believe, about 40 minutes from here. It's also out of the way from if you're going a straight line to get to this state park in North Carolina. But I went there. I talked to the owner. I asked him, what she did. She basically came there.
I mean, it could be nothing, but when I first saw this of that guy there, because she was originally parked over here, and she went in and got some stuff, and then she came over here and parked here to get gas. And this guy was just like watching her every move. And then he went in the store with her and then took off after she took off. It's just weird.
Mullins, South Carolina, which is about, I believe, about 40 minutes from here. It's also out of the way from if you're going a straight line to get to this state park in North Carolina. But I went there. I talked to the owner. I asked him, what she did. She basically came there for 10 or 15 minutes. He said she got an energy drink. But let's hear it in his own words.
You're also going to find probably the worst drivers in the country in that part of the country. North, if you travel from Myrtle Beach up to, especially along the coast, up to North Carolina, those people do not know how to drive whatsoever.
Her car was parked over here. Yep.
They'll literally run you off the road. If you're not doing 70 or 80, you're toast.
And she used the restroom and pull up and just come around and pull up over here to this pump.
That's where she got gas.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
She was here about like 10 or 15 minutes?
Somewhere there.
Okay.
I mean, if you look at the video, it tells all the time, how long she stayed. Yeah, I can say about approximately 10 feet.
Shut up.
15 minutes.
And nothing struck you as unusual?
Nothing. Not at all.
Did she look like she was waiting for somebody here?
No. Not at all. She got the drink, came outside, used the restroom, the party powder, got her gas, and she was left.
Just an ordinary day.
Nothing special, nothing, like just regular day, regular thing.
Now, there's several things that are weird about this, Ashley.
Yeah, we used to go to Myrtle Beach every year. Well, not Myrtle Beach, Surfside, which is part of Myrtle Beach. It's more for families and shit. And we went up to what is it, Cape Fear? Is that Cape Fear in North Carolina to have dinner? And those freaking people are really awful at driving. It's just terrible.
Number one is that it's in Mullins, South Carolina, which if you go from here, Myrtle Beach, to Lumber River State Park, it's like 25 minutes out of the way additionally. So why go there, number one, if you're going to Lumber River State Park? Number two, there's this discrepancy.
See, this whole thing is just really creepy. How this guy just...
There's several things that are weird about this,
Yeah,
Ashley. Number one is that it's in
right there. He
Mullins,
looks
South
right at him.
Carolina, which if you go from here, Myrtle Beach, to Lumber River State Park, it's like 25 minutes out of the way additionally. So why go there, number one, if you're going to Lumber River State Park? Number two, there's this discrepancy about receipts. People have compared receipts from the day she bought
He comes out shortly after.
her gas and this energy drink. There were two different receipts. People don't realize that. There's not one, there's two. One for $25. They said they got a new receipt machine days later, and people are kind of losing their minds. He said, much ado about nothing. That is a non-issue.
Thank you for watching. Go to
All right, I'm going to get the hell out of here. It's good to see you, buddy. I'll try to check out that live you did with that guy, Mark Cohen. I'd like to see that. But I just wanted to come on and give an update on the Iowa storms. Those were pretty bad. There's probably going to be some casualties there for sure. I mean, the whole town, Greenfield, is literally flattened. And then I wanted to touch on the Rex Heuermann thing because I'll be following that. But that's it for me. Frosty, you're awesome. Stay safe, brother. Good luck tomorrow night. And that's it for me. I'll get out of here, play my outro, and then go to sleep. That's what I'm going to do. But it's always good to have Frost. Frosty's awesome. Check his channel out. T Frost. I think you got a wrench anyways. You can yeah, you're gonna get some storms today too. Probably won't be as strong as they were in Iowa, but maybe. You got a wrench, so you can post your channel in here, bro. All right, I'm out of here. I'll see you guys later.